we have had, as I said, a lot of questions, and let's get straight into this first one. It's from Jo Lassiter, probably not here, I don't know, but she asks, from your early days to current times, could you have predicted your journey musically, emotionally, and geographically? And is it where you saw yourself ending up as an artist?
No. When I was starting, I was, 20, 21, and if I saw somebody that was 30 years old, they looked really old to me in those days. And so I didn't have any plan beyond the next sort of 4 or 5 years ago. So I couldn't think of anything beyond 30 anyway. So there was no long-term plan whatsoever. I planned, I had a very loose plan for what happened at the time, and that seemed to go quite well. And then beyond that, nothing at all. I just kind of winging it after that. So when it's just kept going and going and going, and it's been very up and down. It's not as if I got to a level and stayed there. Yeah, I did quite well, and then I went really bad for a long time. So it really has been a massively up and down ride. But the nice thing is that for the last, I guess, 18 years, it's been slowly getting better and better. Yeah. So that's been encouraging. And that brings me, obviously, to where we are now, which is the most important point of all that. But no, I didn't have a long-term plan at all. I honestly didn't know whether I'd be interested in it this long. I liked it for then, and I didn't think that anyone would still be interested in me for that long. Because somebody told me this morning, I did an interview this morning, and they'd looked back at the chart in 1979, and out of the 40 people in the chart then, there's only me, David Bowie and Blondie who were still going of that particular chart. So most people have come and gone, which is normal. That's what you would expect. So I'm very grateful to still be here, actually. And surprised, yes.
The next question, this is from Ross Marks, and he asks, hi Gary, my question is the lyrical content in Splinter based on true life events, fiction, or a mixture of both?
It is a mixture. There's 2 songs on there. There's one called I Am Dust, which is the first song, and one called We're the Unforgiven, which is near the end, I think. I've been trying to write a novel for years, and I write endless notes, and I never actually start it. I think I'm scared to start it in case I'm shit at it. And I don't want to find out I'm shit at it, because it's quite an ambition. I really, really want to do it, and I keep saying I'm too busy, but it's not really true. So anyway, I've got hundreds of pages of notes, and I keep diverting some of them into songs. So there's a bit of that on the album. There's quite a lot of that on Death Sun Rising, actually, stuff on the book. There's one about a lady that we met in America, since we've been there, who had a brain tumour, and was told that she could die at any moment. And she was amazingly brave, and I was really blown away by that. So I wrote a song called, I think it's the last song in the album, it's called My Last Day. I wrote a song inspired by that, not actually about that. And since then she's had an operation, and now she's fine, so it's okay, but I felt really weird talking about it before. The rest of it is about what was going on. I after the last one was finished, I can't remember the timings exactly, but we ended up going from, this is Gemma and me, going from no children to 3 children in a very short space of time. And I love them massively, but I really missed my life before. Yeah, because it was brilliant, Yeah, and I felt guilty for feeling like that, and
some knowing laughter in the crowd out there. I think about that.
Yeah, they're great fun, aren't they? Brilliant. So that was a change, and then I passed through 50 at a similar time, and I thought I'd sailed through that no trouble at all, but I hadn't. I got all kinds of weird shit going on because of that being 50.
Yeah.
And Gemma had postnatal depression with the second pregnancy. That carried on going right through to the 3rd one and beyond. So she was having all kinds of trouble. So we stopped getting on very well. We started arguing and bickering, and that was a shock because we'd had this most amazing time before that. So all in all these things were going on, and I started getting a bit weirded out by the whole thing. Started having panic attacks and anxiety, it all sounds a bit pathetic, really, but that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Couldn't look at old people without.
You come to the wrong place tonight, then I tell you.
But I couldn't. What I meant to say was I couldn't look at old people without getting upset.
Yeah.
I would think about, how can you be that close to the end of it and just be walking around as everything's all right? I couldn't. That's part of the problem. I was having all these really weird thoughts, and then I start crying, and it's really embarrassing, and all this weird shit was going on. So Gemma eventually said, you need to go and talk to someone about that. So when I started talking to someone about it, and they said that I had this underlying depression and put me on medication for that, and that made it worse to start with. And then they changed it, and then it helped, and it flattens you out. So you don't get really excited, you don't get really down, it kind of levels everything out, so you're not bouncing off the walls, which is quite a good thing to start with. But then you just turn into like this little zombie. You don't really give a shit about anything. Yeah. And that went on for years. We lost Coachella, this really massive festival, because of the Icelandic volcano. Yeah. And I went, oh well, let's go and get something to eat or something. It's the biggest disaster in the last 20 years for me. And I just didn't give a shit. Yeah. And I kind of liked not giving a shit, because I've spent most of my life giving a lot of shit about, the press were horrible for years, and and fans can be pretty horrible sometimes, and if you ever check out the internet once in a while, some pretty grim stuff on there, and I think you just get worn out with it. They're constantly coming out with new albums and better songs and better songs and better gigs, and you're worrying about people turning up, just worrying about everything, it seems. And after a while, you just get there's enough, and your brain just. I think that's what happened to me anyway. I just spazzed out for a few years. So you get through that, and then they did this. Aidan, Steve, and Gemma did this brilliant intervention thing, where they come and said to me, you're not right. You've been on these pills for too long, and you're not. Gemma calls it my Forrest Gump years, because I wasn't the same person. Okay. And all I could think about when they were talking to me with this really serious stuff was I really felt like getting a new kitten. Yeah. 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 So.
What did I say? Yeah, what did he say to you? What did he say to me? I can't remember. What did he say?
He said I wanted a kitten. What's wrong with that?
He said your career. We were saying your career. You really need to get an album out. You need to write some songs desperately. We need you to pull you out of this depression. We need you to do some work. And you just looked out the window and said, I want to get a new kitten.
So had 3 children instead.
Brilliant. He did get a new kitten.
So all of this fed into the album eventually?
Yeah, sorry. That's what I was getting back to. So there's songs on there about that. That's the actual answer. There's one on there called Everything Comes Down to This, which is the first song I wrote for the album. Wrote it on the iPad, actually, which is quite cool. That's about me and Gemma not getting on because she was a bitch. She was fucking horrible.
Just hope she's not watching this. Edit.
Between you and me. Fucking wanker. Anyway, so that's that one of them. And there's another one called Lost, which is the gentle piano-y type thing, if you remember that. And that's about us. But that's when I was thinking about running away from the whole thing. Cause she was going to go first. So I wrote this song about what would it actually be like if she wasn't around, and realised that was going to be a huge mistake. So I said, did I say sorry? Can't remember. It changed me anyway. Changed me massively writing that song. I went back in and... Yeah? Oh.
It beats a
No,
bunch of
no,
flowers,
it's-
doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Anyway, we started to put things back together, so that's that song. There's a song about wanting to... I've got this weird thing about dying and missing the children, and I think about it a lot for some reason. There's a song in there about, you know, haunting the children, which is a bit weird, I know. You know, typical stuff. It's stuff like that, you know. There's all kinds of... There's a mixture, basically.